which is an initiative that is being run by a class media group. I think we've done something in the past that had to do with sanitation at a point. We did security, which was the first. And this is the third episode. For the third episode, we're signing officially with Shamba Partners International. And for this episode is basically on a break. I think there was a publication sometime, and I think everywhere is known. I think they said that the price of food is highest even in Ghana, and the rate at which it's growing, something is not done consciously, we most likely will run into trouble waters. And of course, when there's no food, the hungry man is a hungry man. So a threat as well to and security as a nation. So it means we have to take it a lot more seriously. So to go beyond the workshop, we're actually bringing action to this whole initiative, and that's the essence why we have to go with Shamba Partners International, just so that they will lead the action, while we from the media will cover every single step of the way of what is being done. So I will take not too much of our time. So we invite Shamba International, Partners International, to speak to the concept, particularly as it borders on the smart farm concept and every other concept that borders on this initiative going forward. So on that note, I will give the floor to Mr. Tony of Shamba Partners International.
Thank you, Ogatio. I will start by saying that we are privileged to have a partnership like this, because it appears we all sound the same drum, and I believe that this partnership is going to go a long way to help Ghana and Africa in general. When we talk about smart farms, it's all about agriculture modernization. You know, the era where we use hoe and cutlass to do farming is fading out. So therefore, we have to gradually shift to the technology aspect of agriculture. That is where agriculture can be meaningful. So we've already started a project in the Kou range with the Kou mine, Dasibre Ekwamwa Ejapon II, which is definitely likely to kick off by second quarter of this year. And all what we want to do is to establish agri mechanization centers where people can access tractors, drones, and anything that they need to make agriculture a simple way. But from the time past, we thought agriculture was a punishment, but it is not. Agriculture is a business. And how can it be business? It can be business when the people who are really doing the farming have the technical know-how as to how best we can put in the best practices in agriculture. So I believe that after the dialogue in March, we're not going to sit, like you rightly said, to make it like a talk shop, but we'll make sure we go to the ground and then liaise with the farmers and the cooperatives, because we're trying to form cooperatives to make things easier. And then one of the things we are trying to do is to also introduce what we call assembly farms. When we say assembly farms, it means whichever district assembly we are working in, the assembly is going to make sure they supervise and make sure they give right information to the farmers. Because if it is owned by individuals, it is very difficult for even a funding agency or a bank to give loans to the farmers. So if there is cooperative, then it means everybody knows that it's a group thing. And then one of the things we are also trying to introduce is that we look for market for the farmers as well. Let me digress a little bit to share an experience that I had whilst in the United States. You know, from the farm to the table, everybody has a role to play. One of the main reasons why banks refuse to give loans to farmers in Ghana is that the risk is very big. And then if the chain is very effective, let's say if you are looking for a loan from a bank, definitely you are going to use the loan to provide a particular services. So what they do is that they don't give the money to the farmer, but we have to identify what we really need the money for. So let's start from, let's say, land preparation. If it is land preparation, the bank or the agency will give you access to where you can get tractors and other things to prepare your land. And then when it comes to seedlings, they have seed companies who will supply you with the seeds. And then when it comes to labor, it goes like that. And then the tail end of it is where production becomes complete. That is the market. Because production becomes complete when it gets to the final consumer. So if you produce and you don't have a buyer, like we always say on radio, you're doing for me, young for me, a lot of coining yet, you understand? So these are some of the measures we want to put in place to make sure that the farmer is always secured. That way, if a financial entity is putting in money, the risk is a little bit less than to just carry the money to the farmers and then expect them to come and pay the interest. So I don't know whether I'm making sense.
Oh, yeah.
So the value chain, everybody will have to contribute to make sure that the goods get to the final consumer. Not to the individual, you go to the shelves. So in the UK, for instance, if a financier is putting in the money, he knows that at the end of it, or Tesco is buying all the stuff. So getting back the money is easier. You understand? But if you give the hard cash to the farmer, the risk is because post-harvest losses, all those things. And here we don't insure farmers as well. So these are some of the things we are trying to introduce gradually. It's not a day's work, but we have to start from somewhere. That's why we are adopting the districts. You understand, in the coral range, with the support of the mining, to make sure that at least in the next year or two, we are able to reach about 200 farmers, and then we take it from there. So I believe this partnership is going to be a very fruitful one, and I'm very happy to announce that our organization, the US, has already accepted to pay for the venue for the dialogue. So all we need to do is to identify a date and then make sure the venue is not going to be a problem. So at least we have a first sponsor on board to take the venue. We are still talking to other people to see how best they can also come on board. And then we make sure we get more stakeholders who really matter into this to come on board, and then we see how best we can push this agenda. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Finney. Exactly, if you have one or two comments to make on the line, you pick, and then go straight into signing off the document. So maybe Mr. Tony, sit down and start to sign off. Okay, sign off. Let's all can sign off.
So in this case, I will have to sign for, because the lawyer is not here. And then,
Okay, no problem. Maybe you sign for the rest you cannot make it. No, this one will sign the portion that later on you can correction you can use for the records.
someone should do things.
Yeah. I think this initiative sits very well with the vision and dream of CMG as a group to drive agric. I think sometimes last year we did a launch of the Operation Feed Yourself in one of our sister company group. That's a class FM. So this of course sits well with that initiative, and I'm sure we will drive this beyond just the talk shop like we mentioned, but to the field. What we are committed to doing is using our media to drive the entire objective. So wherever the farms are, wherever the farmers are, our whole idea is to link every single stakeholder in the business, whether they are chemical suppliers, whether they are seedling companies, whether they are equipment providers like Mr. Tony mentioned. All of those are things we will use the media to bring all the stakeholders together, so the off-takers as well. We will probably get them involved in all of this arrangement. We had somewhere where they have this outgrower and off-taker arrangement where you make funds available for the off-taker of whatever is being produced. But these funds is not given to the farmer or the off-taker himself. They are used to acquire seedlings, acquire every other thing you need. And once you produce as a farmer, you are guaranteed that your produce is taken off, so you don't have post-harvest losses and all that, so it minimizes. The other bit that has to do with maybe your produce, where the agri come in. We have the insurance company, coming to insure your produce, just so that when you have any challenge, either armyworm or drought or whatever it is that comes to destroy the crop, the insurance company will come to at least reinstate you back. So at least those are some of the comforts the financial houses will require if they are putting their funds into the agri. So I think once those risks are mitigated in whichever way it can be done, I'm sure we'll be able to get institutions that will put funds into agriculture, and they have go to sleep that yes. I know the government has appointed a few institutions, some of the banks, to on-lend to primary agriculture as well as secondary agriculture. So for some of those ones who go knocking on their doors to ask for their buying into all of this project, and I'm sure we'll come back again, maybe after the dialogue, to come and speak to the success of this initiative. So on that note, we declare the launch of the Accra Dialogue Agri project launched today. Is that it? Okay. Now I think beyond the dialogue, we're going to have a regular update program on TV and as well on radio, where they will speak to what happened in the course of the week, both video and audio. And beyond that, there's also another bit I had to talk to Alternative Livelihood, where we're having a monthly program on agri, where we will anchor training for those who want to go into any particular line of agri, whether it is snail rearing, whether it is poultry, whatever it is. So at least the public will be invited and you'll be trained, both theory and practice, and as well, so at least people can pick another means of livelihood to whatever they are doing currently. We are in a challenging situation as a nation. So it means every single person needs to be able to do something. When we're doing the Operation Feed Yourself, we see people planting in sacks and all. That's part of the encouragement that we're looking at. So if Barbara in her house, for example, will rear chicken and eggs, if we go and do rabbitry, I mean, I know it does talk. From the looks you will tell. So I'm sure we are all encouraged to do something. I think for Class FM, I think they have already concluded, I think, an initiative where free seedlings will be given out to those who are doing their backyard farms and all that. So I'm sure with time we'll come back to speak about the success story. But this today marks the launch of this initiative. So thank you. So on that note, except if there are any other things to say. So Mr. Tony, I think so I say welcome to this initiative, and it's our belief that even though it's starting small and in the forecourt of this small office, we believe that the next time we'll be meeting will be outside somewhere and beyond there, maybe visiting farms around Ghana. While we're starting in the Eastern region, it's our prayer that we'll take this beyond Eastern region to all other regions, 16 regions in Ghana. We had the opportunity to be in Tamales sometimes last month to speak on an initiative for African development. Okay, it's our prayer that this same initiative we can sell to the African development. And of course, if it succeeds here, I'm sure they'll be glad to lend to the initiative. So I say congratulations once again. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Let me still teach us. Like you're not talking. You're talking.
I'm sorry.
You think you're not talking.